Museveni is so fearful that he thinks only his son can guarantee his and his family and his close allies security. You mean Museveni, by his knowledge, he doesn't know that security. You look at the image of members at polling station at Kawempe Mosque, and then you say Chagulanyi deployed them. You will be.
Hello and welcome to the Ivan Show. I'm Ivan Tukundane. The by-election in Kawempe North on March 13, 2023 intended to uphold democracy turned violent as journalists face brutal attacks from armed forces attempting to suppress coverage. Despite violence, NUP candidate now Yimba was declared the winner, leaving unanswered questions about the cause of the analysis. With the 2026 general elections approaching, no apology has been issued by the Commander-in-Chief or the CDF. On today's episode, I host a journalist and a member of Parliament, Honorable Semujju Nganda, to discuss what took place in the by-election and project for us and paint a picture on how journalists and media fraternity plus the human rights defenders should get prepared for the upcoming 2026 general election. Honorable Semujju Nganda, welcome to the show and thanks for allowing me to speak to us.
Thank you.
Now, Honorable, given the violence witnessed in Kawempe North, what do you believe were the key factors that led to such a hostile electoral environment?
First of all, you need to understand that already the government, especially the CDF, was already threatening the National Unity Platform because of the military parade, but also threatening them because of the... You see, the Kawempe by-election came after one intense period. Already the government was very angry with no. That anger went up because of the alleged military parade. The CDF, General Moses has been sharing how he will deal with the NOP, how he will deal with the NOP leader, and many other opposition people. Yes. So Kawempe, the by-election became a victim of an ongoing political, I don't even call it a contest. So I think General Moses and his father saw in Kawempe an opportunity to deal with the NOP. And that's why when the president was meeting cabinet, he told them he had also seen images of Kawempe, but Museveni being Museveni, he pretends as if he doesn't know.
Yes, he knows.
But he told them, I am going to speak to Major Kutesa and Brigadier Damulira, meaning they are the ones who are responsible for the violence in Kawempe, those two. He said, why don't they use batons? Why are they using guns? You saw the lot of shooting. I'm going to speak to them. So to him, beating people was not a problem.
Yes. But
beating them with wires and firing endlessly in the air was the problem. So that's the background that an election, because as I speak to you today, Museveni has largely compromised the leadership from the east, from the north. He has a following in the west, the bigger part of west. His problem is in the center. And NOP are the ones who are his problem now. So he doesn't like them just because they have taken over central region which would support him. So he will use every single opportunity available to him to deal with them. So the by-election became a victim. And people also need to understand that the international media, the attention of the international community is at the moment shared and taken by many things. The war in Ukraine, the war in Palestine, the new American president, a madman, who, by the way, is not bothered by what takes place beyond the American borders. So Museveni knows that this is the best period to unleash violence. You have no international community to watch over you. I don't think there is anyone who is going to announce sanctions because of violence anymore. Trump is not interested. He has told Syria, for us, we will withdraw. You are in a mess. Sort out your own mess. So the American establishment that usually leads the international community to condemn and sanction those who unleash violence is busy with these own problems, tariffs, wars, and so on and so forth. So we now can do anything. But also the rise of Moscow and who has repeatedly said that he admires President Paul Kagame, who was the deputy director of military intelligence in Uganda. When Museveni had just captured power, General Muntu was the director of military intelligence. He had 3 deputies. The first deputy was Kagame. But Kagame was brutal, even when he was in Uganda. So Mo says he wants to compete with Kagame in killing people. He said Kagame has killed, but Moses has killed only about 30,000. But Kagame has killed more. I want to kill more than Kagame.
So you have to duplicate the uncle's style of leadership.
Exactly. You see, Museveni is a very deceptive leader. Even when he's beating you, he will be consoling you at the same time and announcing investigations into your beating.
Yes.
Then behind the scene, he will be ordering that you go and beat more. And then on TV, he will say, because you saw him one time, he said, arresting people. Security police even supposed to back at people, shout at them. This is the procedure of arresting. You produce yourself, state the reason. That's what is in the constitution. But the same Museveni continues. But Muhoozi is not a Museveni. He thinks the Kagame way is the best way of handling an opponent or a perceived opponent. So the reason journalists were targeted is simply because they don't want those images to be displayed to local television but also international television. We now have social media. Those images are now all over the world. You may have Trump not interested in Uganda, but Trump is the president for 4 years. You have another person who is going to sanction you as a result of what you are doing. But also, even within Uganda itself, it's no longer possible to carry out the atrocities that were carried out under Obote and Amin, and you go scot-free. Because each individual now can be held accountable. So the environment is not conducive to do the things that are happening in Rwanda. But you can beat people, you can kill them, and you are not accountable. So there is still some mechanism of holding people accountable. So even Muhoozi, brutal as he is, he doesn't want, that's why he has never commanded any operation where they are beating people. He speaks from afar. If beating people is good, as Muhoozi keeps advertising it, let him be the commander.
On the phone.
That is the one in the Kawempe, is the one ordering beat this one, beat this one. But he knows that you may be in power today, tomorrow you are not. That's why he wants people to be the one to do this work. So the journalist,
personally.
I have been in politics now for nearly 15 years. Whether it's the demonstration, each time they want to do harm, each time they want to beat you, each time they want to beat you, the first people to be demobilized is the media. Either confiscate their camera, fire tear gas at them, scatter them. For us who have been in this thing, then you know that danger is about to come. Either you withdraw or find a sanctuary somewhere. So in Kawempe, you had Brigadier Damulia, and the country needs to understand that Brigadier Damulia is the director of crime intelligence. He has legitimately, he has recruited all the faces in Kampala. The initial idea was that these chiefs will help you to identify other people who are committing crimes. It was therefore legitimate for him to penetrate and recruit people who are committing crimes to help him fight crime. Unfortunately, when the NRM political body is under stress, they borrow the chiefs and then unleash them. The reason they did, that's why you did not see mainly the soldiers. There are few images of UPDF soldiers doing the beating. Their duty was to provide protection as the chiefs and the JAT. And if now government operates, even some people in the JAT are not policemen. They have trained the thugs in Kampala, but they dress them as policemen.
So that's why they hood them.
That's why they hide themselves, because they know tomorrow they may not even have a gun. And they know they are going to wreak havoc. So the journalists became a target because they simply wanted to remove all the possibility of being covered in the by-election, and then security would provide cover to the goons, to the chiefs, to begin unleashing terror. The only thing that didn't happen in Kawempe, because they also didn't communicate properly, that's why Museveni is very angry. There are people who are responsible for violence, but there are those who are also responsible for rigging elections. So the ones who are responsible for rigging election didn't do their part very well.
Smart enough.
Because they did it in Kayuma, they did it in Soroti, where Nabanja was a commander.
So, Honorable, given what happened in Kawempe, if a mere by-election can call for all that violence, where do you think the press freedom is left amidst the general elections?
I think the media, the world over, participates in freedom fighting. It is only in Uganda and by a few academicians who are theoretical, who think the media is just a bystander. The media influences events. The media can attract international attention to a local story, to a domestic story. The treatment of the opponents, of the opposition, is going to be the same treatment that is subjected and administered to the media. People in the media need to begin understanding that. When you see the military beating people, shooting at them, it can be temporary that they are limited to shooting the opponent. But because you are the one exposing them, you're also going to become a legitimate target. I remember when the journalists were beaten, escorting Chagulanyi after the general elections, the UN Human Rights Office, Andrew Mwenda said, beating people is how NRM works. These are NRM's bad manners. Today was just your turn. That's what he told, and I believed in him 100%. That was just the turn of the journalist. So Kawempe has been unprecedented, not only against journalists, but against everybody. So the same treatment subjected to perceived opponents, the politicians, is going to be the same treatment that is subjected to everybody, including, unfortunately, to the media. So the media people need now to devise ways of covering, because even after some media organizations withdrew from Kawempe, we continue. Because the reason you label yourself as a journalist, put on a jacket and protecting your head and so on. Yes. So because you think when you're identified, you're going to spare. Now, the next elections, maybe journalists don't need to rebel themselves. They need to go like ordinary people and then find a way of covering. Otherwise, I have seen the president saying there's going to be an investigation. But he cannot carry out an investigation on himself. He's the one who deployed the Major Kutesa, who is part of SFC. SFC not deployed by police. So Museveni is going to investigate people he himself deployed.
Okay. Many believe security forces are increasingly becoming a tool for political separation. Do you think this trend is worsening in the upcoming general elections, in your view?
Look at Idi Amin. People celebrated when Idi Amin removed Obote. He was a Dani. Assembled a cabinet in the history of Uganda that had the highest number of professors and doctors. Everybody was willing to serve after the removal of Obote. When the country rejected Idi Amin, he became brutal. He became suspicious of everybody. He unleashed tyranny on each and everybody. When Museveni came here, I was young, but I was 12 years old. I used to see Museveni. There was time he was passing by Chaza, where I was born. He even used to have a loud speaker on his car. People would go and lay in the street and demand to be addressed. And Museveni would park his convoy and the address is there. He was still daddy. Museveni used to have a press conference at the entire airport each time he went out of the country. On return, he would address the country on what had taken him. You can ask people like Wafula Ogutu, William Pike. They are the ones who used to let John Nagenda, Cheye, Kanavi, Tamarin. They are the ones who used to cover him. Now you have Museveni who is paranoid. Even when he's addressing his own cabinet and MPs, he will sit a kilometer away from people he's addressing. He fears his own cabinet, he fears MPs, he fears everybody. So the trouble is that when a leader becomes unpopular, and it is natural, you see, Museveni thinks that people have no right to reject him. But if you have been around for 40 years, even if you are such a good leader, people will be fatigued. They will say, now we no longer like you.
Is it part of the reason why he appointed his son as a CDF?
He has said it himself. He said his son will revenge on their behalf. Has he said that? You can go and Google it. He said Muoz will revenge. And that's why the son keeps If Besigye is in jail, the son will say, "Why did you kill my father?" Then you want to do, then you must surrender. Then, because you see, the relationship between a son or a daughter and a parent is such that a parent will provide security when they are young. When you grow old, your children will want to protect you. I have children. When people criticize me, they feel very bad. I have preached to them every day that I'm in public life. So people have a right to criticize me. Yes. Now imagine if they are also armed, like the one of Museveni. So Muhoozi thinks his father is above criticism. He thinks his father has done so much for Uganda, and therefore everywhere he goes, he must be throwing flour, not attacking him and abusing him. So that's why he's acting the way he's acting. You are ungrateful to my father. My father has done so much for you. So things are going to get worse, and the best way, and I have spoken this even to Museveni, I have had an opportunity to debate with Museveni at least 2 times now. The last time in 2014, actually 3 times. 2014, I asked him to give Uganda a favor, a gift. And I said the only gift you can give to Uganda is a peaceful transition. All of us are safer, including Museveni and his family and the people who are able to amass wealth. We are safer with a peaceful transition. Museveni is so fearful that he thinks only his son can guarantee his and his family and his close ally security. Go to Kenya. Moi was not different from Museveni. They sat down and agreed not to move hard, not to imprison him, and people he had helped to make wealth. And those who are coming to government accepted. It is some sort of an amnesty that we will not come and freeze your wealth, we will leave you to continue living. But when I was saying, is it still possible that Museveni can do a country favor at this age? The trouble is that he keeps digging in. He keeps digging in. When Papa was starting, headed by the Honorable Augustine Luzindana, the Honorable Elia Kategaya, they were all pleading to Museveni. I was in Mbarara at the Catholic something center. And the speech of Honorable Kategaya was that, please help us. People targeted and tortured people from Mulango because Obote was the president. They administered the same tyranny when Idi Amin was removed. He said, save us from this area, from Wankole, to be the first group to peacefully hand over power. That guarantees continuity of the country, but also guarantees the security of everybody. When Museveni captured here power, they were hunting down UPC leaders. One time they were Ben Wacha told the parliament how he was rescued by late James Wapakaburu. So we still have an opportunity. The trouble is that where we are now, Museveni continues to age. And the moment you continue to age, you begin losing grip on power. People around you begin helping you, even in homes. When you grow old, you are going to be helped by the children. That's what is happening to Uganda. The son and the other relatives. The other day, Wabogo went to Ado's cabinet when they were in retreat, uninvited. And the president said, Wabogo has something to tell you. So the family thinks now, people are taking advantage of you. I saw Mukwano here before he died. The country may not know. When Mukwano grew old, he started giving out money just like that. So he says, I have worked with you. You mean you don't have a house? I have given you a house. You mean you've never gone to make a house? You go. Until his family, I'm sorry to say this, I had a friend who was working here, saying now, we have to manage the old man. So where we are now, I think your family and those who are close to Museveni have come to the conclusion that they have to manage him and take over the affairs of the state. Unfortunately, what happened in Kawempe is one way of them helping Museveni. So you are known for your genuine opinion. Majority of people are very tired with a region called Ankole and even by Ankole. Is it true that they are part of the game? You see, the trouble is that many people have not gone to Ankole. I have gone there. I went to Rohama for 3 days when Museveni's wife was an MP. And the reason I went there as a journalist was to report to the country if an area represented by Museveni's wife was different from any other area. I found their bridges had collapsed. And at that time, they hadn't divided it. So they hadn't divided the Rohama. From one corner of Rohama to another was about 80 kilometers. No roads. Children there didn't go to school. People are struggling on their own. There are people from Ankole who have benefited. But the majority are struggling on their own. In fact, if left free, somebody cannot win in Ankole. You can. if left free. The only reason he wins is the same way Kagame wins in Rwanda, getting 98%, because people are being watched over. They are being watched over, and there is a concentration of military people. He tends to concentrate a lot of energy in Ankole and a bit of West, Bunyoro, Toro, etc. But the majority in Ankole are survivors. I mean, you go to school, they also can't pay fees. But that's the point that Kategaya made, that you're going to be perceived. People of Rango, all of them collectively, people perceived them as people who were benefiting from Obote's government. And Kategaya told us one time they drove to Rango to look for Obote's home place, which is Akokoro. He said we passed it because it was in a terrible shape. Nobody knew that we had arrived in Akokoro. Yes. And he said, you see, it's going to be the same story for people in Ankole. Unfortunately, collectively, that's what the country perceives. I remember one of the elders, I hope you not be angry when I quote this, the Honorable Manya Mushega had a meeting with Museveni. And Museveni wanted to find out what was the problem. And Mushega told him, the country thinks it is the West. The West thinks it is Wanyankole. The Wanyankole thinks it is Wahima. The Wahima thinks it is your family. That is the problem. That was his answer. Everyone is attributing blame to it. The blame is pressed collectively by groups to where it belongs. But an outsider thinks it is Western Uganda. In Western Uganda, they think it is Ankole. The Ankole thinks it is Wahima. The Wahima thinks it is the family. So you're going to be perceived, all of you. So it becomes, I mean, the Mananas, when Museveni removed Obote, collectively we are being accused of being behind the atrocities when Obote was in power, including those who didn't even know how to shoot a gun. They are all collectively being punished. So unfortunately, that we can only guarantee the safety and security of everybody by Museveni peacefully handing over power.
What safeguards or policies can be put in place to regulate? Because people are predicting a very violent 2026 elections, and you as a political player and a journalist who has witnessed the majority of the elections taking on, people are predicting 2026 to become very
the next election, Moses Kainerugaba will be in charge. He was party in charge in the last election. Him and Lete Rokech and Kayanja Mohanga, who is now Commander Land Forces. They were the ones who were in charge of violence in Kampala in November 2020, November leading to 2021. Now Mohozi will be in charge, maybe with Damulira and Kutesa and whoever he will want to assemble. And I don't know how much pleading the country can do to stop violence. I don't know how much pleading. It's going to be very difficult. First, as I said earlier, when you're in power for 40 years, people will want to change, even if you are such a good leader, the best in the world. So Museveni as an incumbent, each election has been a referendum. So I think we can only brace ourselves. And things are going to get worse. I have already said this, and I can repeat myself. We are going to witness three things, and they're going to increase. Prison, and you can check the budget of the next election. The prison has asked for 100 billion to cater for prisoners, because they may not disclose, but you can see they are anticipating that there will be many people going to prison, and their ordinary budget cannot. It is in the budget. If you look at the second budget circular, core circular, it is already there. They want more money for prisoners during the election. They have even put it during the elections. So you expect prison. You expect death. Because in November 2020, leading to the 2021 election, people were shot and killed in their tens. But sometimes this government will hide evidence. And then people going to exile. Those things are going to happen during and after elections. Already there are people who have started going away, Stella Nyanzi, Kakwenza, and others. You saw how Kakwenza was beaten. You've seen my mayor of Kira and hundreds of other supporters. They were beaten. Journalists who were locked in the drone and beaten. And this was just a mere by-election that was not going to change the numerical strength of parliament. That was actually, in terms of the composition of parliament, is very insignificant, but it changes nothing. But the energy that was deployed, for the first time you saw Mbamba armored vehicles invading polling stations for the first time.
Someone would think they are going into war.
I think that's how they are framed. And the area that's going to be targeted the most is going to be the central region, because the Achoris, at the time they are voting 100% against Museveni, they suffered. So the central region, the only fortunate thing that we have is the media. I remember the Honorable Livingston Okero from Chua. He was brutalized during elections, but he only came to report after the election because there is no media in Kitgum at that time. So here the only advantage is that there is a bit of media, but that media can only cover Kampala metropolitan. In areas of Nakaseke, Chiwoga, Karangala, those people I sympathize with them because the central region now is the target.
Honorable, as we wind up our discussion, one, people ask, and personally ask, you have been among the people who have been warned by CDF that is going to work on you.
To kill me? You said it's going to kill me.
Yes. Yeah. Are you not afraid or scared about?
No, I have told the people, first of all, my faith gives me protection. I am a Muslim. When time comes for you to die, you will die. It doesn't matter whether you are protected or you are president. I came to UBC for a talk show with Eric Tumwine. The whole of UBC was surrounded by soldiers. So that time I was Minister for Security. On the first floor, on the second, in the compound, because they are giving protection to Tumwine. I drove in only with my wife. Both of us are still living. Tumwine, who was surrounded with soldiers, is long gone. Nobody has protection. And someone else can threaten to kill me, but you will also die. So you can kill me, but it will be my time. You will only be the conduit. So there's nobody who can scare me with death.
NRM is going to court about the results of Kawempe by election. What is the game that they are trying to play?
The Museveni told the NRM MPs the media did not cover each and everything. His problem was that, of course, he blames violence on the opposition, yet everybody saw that it was from security and the face. He's using that as a cover. But the point he made that people may have missed in the passing was that now people will fear to offer themselves to be NRM candidates. That point he made during the caucus. But until we reverse this, people now will either lose the appetite and the courage and the energy to pick the NRM card. That's what is troubling Museveni.
Yes.
That in areas here, Kampala and Uganda, there is no motivation for anyone to be an NRM because the reason people become NRM is either they're going to cheat for you or they are going to change results for you. The opposition can go to court. But if they can unleash the violence, in fact, Museveni was calling that he had given the people 1.3 billion shilling and they ate it. He said, I'm going to investigate them. That's what he told the MPs. So Museveni is not going to court because NRM was cheated. He's not seeking to nullify Narukola's victory because Narukola cheated. He's simply fearful that this trend demotivates people from picking the NRM flag. So he wants NRM people to know that even if you lose, I am the final man. I can order that you are declared the winner, either through court or through electoral commission. That's the only motivation.
That's confident.
Yes. So all these others is just a cover. You mean Museveni, by his knowledge, he doesn't know that security. You look at the image of members at polling station at Kawempe Mosque, and then you say Chagulanyi deployed them. You will be insane. There is no way Kazini was about to be convicted here. He's charged, I think around 2004-5 there. If I recall, I was still at observe. Kazini had been charged with transferring of personnel without the knowledge of commander-in-chief. It is a very big offense in the EPDF Act to transfer, to deploy, to move. Actually, the word is moving troops without the knowledge of the commander-in-chief. So you mean Museveni did not have knowledge that they were moving members, armored vehicles, not just a jet. But Museveni did not know that armored vehicles were at a polling station that he wants to investigate. And these people are not charged, like Kazini was charged for moving troops without the knowledge of the commander-in-chief. So Museveni knew all this. I think he was also shocked that it didn't work. I think they had set out to go and cheat, but fighting over money may have demotivated some people who said, no, for us, we did not share. I saw that in the way during the Brenda Kenya's by-election. Those who didn't share money were actually supporting us. Remember one time that we said, do they think this money will cause him but I am the whole vice chairman of whether I live in Uganda, but someone else is given the money. Me, the responsibility to go and look for a vote. So that infighting sometimes is beneficial for democracy. Otherwise, if they had coordinated well, the ones who had reached violence and the ones responsible for cheating the election, they would have announced Nambi a winner.
Finally, what message do you give to the government and security agencies regarding the accountability of electoral violence?
You see, the world is becoming smaller. You may be the one responsible for unleashing the terror today, and they need to begin learning from those who have been in positions of authority. When I was a journalist, Chris Wakiza was the CID, or director CID. Lieutenant General Mukunde was CMI. They did not torture people the way these ones are torturing, but they tormented us. One time I was doing a story and I called to Mukunde, and he told me I was promoting terrorism. He will take me to Cairo to run, and then both of them are no longer in charge. People who have been in charge, you saw Kayura. Kayura did not reach the levels of Mohoz, but he also tortured us. Now he's crying. The only problem, the only advantage is that the government is served is still in the power. But he's a candidate for prostitution. Mohoz Kainerugaba should learn from children of other presidents. Let him go and learn about Libya. Gaddafi's son, they really even removed the finger. Do you know what they said? They had many prisoners, and they said to identify Gaddafi's son, we must put a mark. So we remove one of the fingers. They cut it. They need to distinguish him from other prisoners. Let him look at what happened to Adema's son in Togo. He took over power after his father. Then he started crying that the people should make noise as they are surrounding him. Let him look at Saddam Hussein's children and in-laws. You can only be safe in a country if everybody is safe. Mohoz Kainerugaba is of my age. I was born in 1973. He's younger than me. I was born in September. He was born maybe after November. So he needs to run. But you can only be secure in a country if everybody has security. You can only prosper in a country if everybody is prospering. But to think for you live in an island because you are surrounded with guns, that's a temporary measure. That's a pain killer. There will be a time when you are no longer in charge. You may not pay the price, but other people will pay. When Manya Mshega told me the children who are dying in Somalia, they were not yet born the time Syed Barre was in power. They are the ones who are dying now. So Mohoz's children, or his grandchildren, may be the one to pay the price. Him and his father, who are tormenting everybody, they need to sit down and reflect. I mean, this is a very good country. You cannot live in peacefully. You don't have to kill, you don't have to stay in power for you. And they have amassed wealth for 40 years. I don't think anyone in that family survives on a salary. We are all surviving on classified under state house, classified under the
That's why you're always complaining.
Yes, but they need to make a step backwards, reflect on the future. If not their own future, at least the future of their children and grandchildren. But our grandchildren should live in a completely different country, enjoying each other. This animosity and violence should stop on Museveni. Muhoozi Kainerugaba needs to understand, and he needs to allow violence to end with his father who went to Ruwero to capture power through violence. From now onwards, people are talking about artificial intelligence. So we are assembling jets to go and beat people.
Honorable Semujju Nganda, thank you so much for giving us your time and for a wonderful discussion.
Thank you.
We have been with Honorable Ibrahim Semujju Nganda, and he has dissected on the electoral violence that took place in Kawempe by-election and projected on what may happen in the coming 2026 general elections. For the media and human rights out there, I think it's time now to tighten our belts and improve on that technology. Ivan Tukundane is my name, and this is the Ivan Show.